Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley. Welcome back to Steelers Almighty, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, this is the report card pod of Steelers lost 35-25 to the Green Bay Packers. Man, goodness gracious. This one, it wasn't as bad as the Cincinnati game because Cincinnati's not a good team, but then the Packers are a really good football team. But this is a game the Steelers could have won. They could have won. But then again, I say that, and maybe we're just not good enough. I think we have to start coming to the realization that the Steelers football players, coaches, organization just isn't good enough. And that's a humbling thing as a fan, like myself and like most of you. That's humbling that we're just not good enough. But that's where we are, man. That's where we are. The Steelers did some things in this football game that are just, you're like, well, if we can't do this, how are we going to win? Exactly. How are we going to win? So I appreciate you all being here. We're going to break all this down for you. Remember to continue to like, follow, subscribe, continue to get in that comment section like you always do, and always hit the notification bell so you know exactly when Steelers Almighty content comes out. Let's get into this, people. So first things first, quarterback position. Look, I thought it was good and bad for Aaron Rodgers. First off, he had to drop back too many times, but obviously, at the end of the game, we're throwing the ball every down to try to get back into it. But Rodgers missed some throws early. He wasn't great. People think, oh, man, it was cute. He threw the ball to Spencer Anderson, and you're like, yay, Spencer Anderson caught a pass. Yeah, but if Rodgers would have actually just went through his progressions versus, hey, I'm going to throw the ball to Spencer Anderson no matter what, on the opposite side of that, DK Metcalf was getting press covered. He beats man press. Safety's in the middle of the field. He's wide open for a touchdown. Rodgers never looked his way. So while it's cute that he threw the ball to Spencer Anderson, he gave up a touchdown pass because, I'm just going to throw it to this tackle or this guard just to say that he caught a football pass. I'd rather have the touchdown. I'm sorry. But overall, he wasn't that bad in this football game. He did some stuff getting outside the pocket. It looks like while he can't run around like he used to, people saying, oh, he can't move. That's an absolute lie. He can. He's just not what he was 5 years ago. No, he's not. He's not what he was early in his career. Who is? What person runs around besides LeBron James? What person runs around, at 41 the same way they did at 27? Okay. So all I'm saying is Rodgers was pretty good, but he wasn't great. I gave him a C for the day because, again, while he made a couple of throws, and there were times that he missed some or just didn't look that direction when he should have been looking at that direction. I'm sorry. On this Pittsburgh Steelers roster, this roster of wide receivers, I'm guessing your first read should always be DK Metcalf. And we saw this too many times last year, people. Remember, George Pickens, we don't give him enough opportunities. In a game like this, why does DK Metcalf only have 7 targets? When can DK Metcalf get 11 targets, 13 targets? When can that happen? I don't know, but it didn't. But that's where I'm at with it. I thought Rodgers was just okay. He was just okay in this game. Moving on to running backs. Look, first, let me get this out of the way. Kenneth Gainwell, I don't care where it is or when it is in the football game. You cannot fumble my football. You can't fumble my footballs. End of story. Can't do it. Okay, I know it didn't cost us the game, so I'm not going that route, but you can't fumble my football. Having said that, the running backs, again, were good. Jalen Warren, what else you want from him? 13 carries. 13 carries. Should have had minimum of 20. We'll get into why he didn't have those carries. But again, was just a dominant force in this football game. I just don't understand it. 13 carries, averaging 4.8 yards a carry. Not enough. Kenneth Gainwell, despite the fumble, 5 carries for 31 yards. They weren't garbage time. Kenneth Gainwell ran the football. The Steelers ran the football, ladies and gentlemen. Just didn't do it enough. They caught the ball out of the backfield. Again, it's the same thing with the running backs pretty much every week, except for that damn fumble. I'm not going to stand for that. I don't have patience for that kind of stuff. Having said that, give me a B for the running backs. And the only reason they get a B is because of the fumble. If it wasn't because of that, they'd get an A plus. But you get knocked for fumbling my football. But yeah, the running backs again were very, very good in this football game. They did exactly what you needed them to do. They just didn't get enough opportunities, which is odd for a team that wants to run the football. It's odd. But again, we'll get to that. Moving on to the wide receivers. Look, DK Metcalf, I just talked about him not getting enough targets. Well, I'm sorry, in this football game, and we've seen it in others, but this one specifically, DK Metcalf gets bullied too much by press coverage. Now, I know I mentioned that he beat press coverage and just didn't get the ball thrown to him for a touchdown, but that wasn't the only snap of the game that the Packers were in press coverage. And it wasn't like they were just keeping a safety over top of him and bracketing him. No, they were keeping a safety in the middle of the field because what the Packers understood was we got to be able to stop the run. The Steelers have gone to this heavy package and they're able to run the football. We got to get more people down in the box. Now, it didn't stop the Steelers from running it. We stopped ourselves, but that's a different conversation. DK's got to be able to get off press coverage better. He got to be able to do that. I'm sorry. He's got to be able to do that and get open. You know who we did see a flash from? Roman Wilson. Roman Wilson showed up. How big it was, I know the touchdown catch was late, but technically, if Jonnu Smith could catch a pass, we'll get to him in a minute, the Steelers were still in the game. You know, I know you have to get an onside kick and all that, but when you're down 10, is anybody really trying to get an onside kick at that point? Down 10 with a minute and a half to go? No, they're not, because you got to get 2 scores at that point, and the game is over, and everybody knew that. But Roman Wilson, look, we've been asking for signs. We're seeing signs. We got to get Calvin Austin more involved. For the life of me, I just don't understand why we don't run crossing routes with Calvin Austin or DK Metcalf, guys that can catch the ball and are fast. I just don't know why we never do that. It just baffles me that the Steelers don't have crossing routes. And I'm not talking about deep crossing routes. I'm talking about shallow crosses, just to run in front of people's faces, to confuse a defense. We don't do anything like that. It's mind-boggling. And you can't put that on the receivers because they can only run the routes that they can run, or that are being called. Pat Freiermuth got hurt. That's obviously is not his fault. It was actually a bad read by Aaron Rodgers throwing him in there and got him blown up. Jonnu Smith, I was ready to trade Pat Freiermuth for Jonnu Smith 2 weeks ago. I was wrong. I can admit that I'm wrong. If you can't admit when you're wrong, I might as well not do this. We're all fans. We all watch. And pretty soon people are going to say, Big B, you're nuts. Yeah, I'm nuts. Sorry. I apologize. I take it back. Jonnu Smith, it is what it is. Give me Pat Freiermuth over him. You want to trade somebody? Trade Jonnu Smith. He can go. I'm sorry. I've changed my mind. I was wrong. He can go. You can say he's not being used the right way. Jonnu Smith doesn't catch passes. He can't block. I'm sorry. We can move on. I'll take Muth all day because at least Muth is going to give a damn and is going to get in there and get dirty. Jonnu Smith don't even try to do that. I'm past it. Like I said, I can move on. As far as the wide receivers overall, I gave him a C because, again, DK has to be better. He's big in this, but Jonnu Smith, he failed us. Freiermuth got hurt, but when he was out there, he was fine. And guess who was out there blocking his ass off? Pat Freiermuth. So I give him a C. They can be better. I loved what Roman Wilson did, but this one, DK dropped a touchdown pass too. People are saying Rodgers got to put that ball more inside. Hey, man, DK Metcalf's the strongest wide receiver in the league. Stop letting guys knock the ball away from you. Go catch the football. Period. End of story. Catch the damn football, man. Now, moving on to the offensive line. Look, I know they had 3 sacks. I know they got some pressure on us. And that wasn't great. But for the most part, I'm sorry, people, the offensive line was pretty good. Now, when we wanted to run the football, the Steelers ran it. They just flat out ran the football. Now, here's the thing that I will say. And I know a lot of you get tired of me saying the same things. And let me kind of explain it to you. And I'll even apologize. Broderick Jones stinks. Let me repeat that. Broderick Jones stinks, and he stunk in this game. And I know a lot of you get tired of Big B. That's all you ever talk about. You get on Broderick, you say the same thing over and over again, and I do. And the reason that I do is because my job is to tell you what we see on tape. It's like I don't make anything up. I don't add anything in. Like it's not AI. I'm not AIing anything about Broderick Jones. All I'm doing is telling you and then showing you what he's doing. And he stinks. We need a new left tackle. I've been saying it, but it is what it is. And I know a lot of you get tired of that. For that, I apologize. But I'm going to continue telling you why something isn't working and then showing you on top of that when we do the all 22 of the offensive line. I'm going to show you. It is what it is. I apologize for that. I know it gets old. But the Steelers might be in trouble because if Isaac Seumalo's not playing and we can't use Spencer Anderson in our big boy package to run the football, I don't know. But look, it was pretty good. The line, I mean, again, they got 3 sacks. Okay, that's not great. But when we wanted to run the football, when it was time to run it, the Steelers ran it. And the line was doing work. I mean, there was times Spencer Anderson out there on the edge was giving Micah Parsons the absolute blues. And that's always been the thing. Run the football at Micah Parsons. The Steelers did that, and he wanted no part of it. He wanted no part of it. But we didn't do it enough. We just didn't do it enough. Why? We'll get into that. So overall, I gave the offensive line a B- because the sacks were bad, but I attribute that to we've got a bad left tackle, and Seumalo got hurt. It is what it is. But when we wanted to run the ball, we ran the ball. So for the most part, I thought the offensive line was good. They weren't a problem. Even the times that Rodgers scrambled out, like that long pass to Roman Wilson, he didn't have to leave the pocket. He chose to leave the pocket. He didn't have to. He had plenty of protection in there. So they did a good job. They did a good job. So overall for the offense, look, 25 points should have been more. Should have been more. I can easily say that. We settled for field goals, 3 of them to be exact, 3 50-yard field goals. We could have kept drives alive. And we kept getting stupid penalties to get behind the sticks. But then our offensive coordinator just gives up. It's either him or the head coach. It's probably a combination of both, or it's probably more the head coach just giving up and living in his fears versus trying to go get a 3rd and 13. Like the Steelers don't possess, we can't get a 3rd and 13. If it's 3rd and 13, we're punting or we're kicking a field goal. You mark it down. If it's 3rd and 10, the Steelers are punting or they're kicking a field goal because they will not go get it. And that was a problem in this game. You settle for field goals. You won't be aggressive to try to go get a first down, and you lose. I think the Steelers left a minimum of 10 points. And I'm probably being generous because if they keep these drives alive, who knows what would have happened. So I'll just say 10 points on the board they left out there. But overall, I don't blame this game on the offense at all. They get a B, and I don't blame it on the players because some of it is on them, obviously. Don't get me wrong. But they got what was working, they stopped doing, and that's not their fault. The players don't call the plays. Now, Aaron Rodgers trying to throw the ball and constantly on these RPOs versus just running the damn football, some of that's on him too, which is why I gave him a C on the day. He wasn't great. But overall, I thought the offense was pretty good in the football game. They weren't bad. They just weren't, man. It's just we didn't do enough. And when I say we didn't do enough, they kind of held themselves back, and it was from the coaching aspect. But we'll get to that. So overall, I gave them a B. And I just thought they were pretty good on the day, man. I thought they were pretty good on the day. So now, as far as defense is concerned, oh, Lord have mercy. Let's start with the D-line. I'll start off with the good. Did well against the run. A lot of people saying, well, they outrushed us. That stuff came late. Where the game was decided. For the most part, the Steelers were very good against the run. D-line was good against it. Derek Harmon was good against it. Cam Hayward. I mean, They were good against the run. Josh Jacobs had 13 carries for 33 yards, and I know the backup came in and he broke off a 12-yarder and a 15-yarder, but the game was already over by that time. The Steelers, for the most part, did a good job against the run. I'll give them that. But what I'm not going to give them is the lack of pass rush, no sacks, 5 quarterback hits. That's all. We blitzed. We did things. We just couldn't get home. And I'm sorry. I know this is going to piss people off, but I'm going to tell you the truth. TJ Watt, is he washed? Is he washed? Because he did nothing from a pass rush perspective in this football game. And I don't want to hear about, well, they double teamed him and they chipped him. Well, he just gives up when they do that. You know who doesn't give up when he gets double teamed? Micah Parsons. And we saw it in this football game. He got triple teamed and got a sack. That's who doesn't give up when he gets double teamed. You know who else doesn't give up when they get double teamed? Myles Garrett. They don't give up. Myles Garrett had 5 sacks and was double teamed, and it didn't matter because they have pass rush moves. They have counters to those moves. TJ Watt doesn't have that. He's got a really good go-to move. Other than that, if you're being honest, what else does TJ Watt have? He's effort, gives a ton of effort, and he can bend and he can get around that corner, and his motor is incredible. But when it just comes strictly to pass rushing, how good is he? How many good? I mean, again, what other moves does he have? Alex Highsmith, non-existent in the football game. Oh, and then we've got Nate Herbig, who played 24 snaps this game compared to Alex Highsmith's 47. I don't know. Either way, the D line gets a D minus, and the only reason they get this D minus is because they were good against the run. I'm going to give them that they were good against the run until the game got decided. Then once the game got decided, they quit and the Packers broke out some runs on us. But other than that, they were good against the run for the most part. But that's the only reason they get that grade, man. No pass rush, no nothing. Oh, disgusting. Now moving on to the linebackers. Look, I'm done with it. Patrick Queen has to be replaced. Patrick Queen is terrible. We all know that. We see it. Every single week, it's the same thing. He's terrible in coverage, and he misses tackles. How often are we going to say the same thing? Or not say the same thing, see the same thing out of him. Bad in coverage, misses tackles. Same thing every week. I mean, the problem is, who are you going to replace him with? Well, you're going to put Cole Holcomb out there? Well, we watched in this game, Cole Holcomb is worse in coverage than Patrick Queen. So you can't do that. So where do you go? I don't know. It was a shameful performance by our linebackers again. However, I will say this. Peyton Wilson wasn't bad. So when I say overall linebackers, maybe I'm just talking about Patrick Queen and Cole Holcomb because Peyton Wilson played well in this football game. He was there in coverage. He was good against the run. He played well. Well, well is a strong word. He played okay. And maybe he's starting to get the message. If you're going to continue to run around blocks in the run game and you're going to continue to not be where you're supposed to be in pass coverage and try to do somebody else's job, then we're going to play somebody else. And that started to happen. And maybe he's like, look, I'm losing my spot here. I've got to pick this up. And he was everywhere. Wasn't great play, but it was better than what it has been. But that doesn't matter. The linebackers get a D minus. Because when your leader is that poor, I mean, that's the thing. When your leader, and that's Patrick Queen, and he is the leader, when he plays that poor, Patrick Queen had 3 tackles in this football game. 3 tackles, one of them were solo. And it wasn't because he didn't have the opportunities, people. You all saw how many tackles he missed. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what you want me to say. The linebacking core is it's just not very good. It's not very good. Moving on to the defensive backs. Well, let's just start here. Missed tackles, missed assignments, terrible coverage. So when you're talking about defensive backs, you say, well, they miss tackles, they miss assignments, and they have bad coverage. I mean, what else? What else are you needing from them? I mean, oh, and by the way, we look like the bad news bears. Juan Thornhill running back, you know, that deep pass to Christian Watkins. He looked like a 10-year-old playing in the backyard when his dad throws a pass over his head, just running back to try to catch it. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. That is just embarrassing. You're that far out of position. You can't be a better athlete than that, because that was just a lob pass. Like, I could see if that was a laser that went right over your head. He lobbed that up, and that's what you look like. I was like, you should just run off the field, man. My goodness. And by the way, it's going to get worse because Deshaun Elliott, unfortunately, and this sucks, he's going to be out for the year. That was a gruesome knee injury. I, I don't know. I just don't understand what's going on with this defensive secondary. It is terrible. I take that back. I do understand what's going on with it. They're not any good. That's what's going on with it. Darius Slay has no business being on the team. I'm guessing that's why the Philadelphia Eagles decided that they gave up on this starting cornerback of their Super Bowl winning team, that they no longer needed his services anymore. I'm guessing there's a reason for that, but not for us. We pick him up, and guess what? Gets beat, can't tackle, just bad play. Jalen Ramsey, you didn't really notice him that much. He made a couple of good plays. He wasn't really in man-to-man coverage that often, which from the week before, that's probably a good thing. Joey Porter Jr. got another holding penalty. But it wasn't bad, but basically the Steelers couldn't cover them, and they kept they kept catching passes. Our zone coverage was bad. It just, the DBs get an F. They were terrible. They were terrible. I don't know. I don't know. It was just bad, man. But this, and I keep saying bad, and I apologize, but I'm just so frustrated because it's. I never thought this would happen. I never thought this would happen. Maybe it's shame on me. It's probably shame on me for being so optimistic and looking at it from that lens, from actually a better lens. So that's on me. But the DBs in this game, whew, F across the board, just terrible play. And then overall from the defense, 35 points. Couldn't cover anybody. Couldn't cover a tight end. Tight end set career highs. Looked like an all-world tight end. Now, don't get me wrong. He's very good. There's no question. He's very good. But not only could you not cover him, then you couldn't tackle him. You know? And just all game. All game. Again, $162 million defense, and this is what it looks like. This is what that $162 million defense looks like. Bottom 5 in the league. I never thought I would say it. Clearly they get an F for this game. But I never thought that. Never. You couldn't convince me that this defense was going to be this bad, no matter what you did or said to me. There's no way I thought it was going to be like this. But here's where we are, people. Here's where we are. Just pathetic. Now let's go to the special teams. The easy, Boswell, 4 field goals, 3 from 50-plus yards. Coverage units were, again, pretty good. Just easy. The problem is having to continuously settle for these 50-yard field goals. It's fine to have the best kicker in the world. We know we have that. But why do we have to keep settling for that? But that's not special teams' problem. Either way, special teams was outstanding again. Now to the coaching. Look, Arthur Smith, I tried to defend you from time to time and give you the praise when it's deserving. But when it's not, I'm going to be on your ass, and this is one of those cases, because why you stopped running the football is beyond me. You know, people tried to bail you out and give you an excuse last week against the Bengals and said, well, we were down 2 scores and we had to start throwing the football. Okay, fine. Well, the Steelers were running the ball and running it well. We stopped going to it. Jalen Warren, 3 carries, second half. That's a fireable offense when the man was averaging almost 5 yards a carry. In my opinion, it is. Not to mention when Green Bay had the momentum and they took the lead 22-19. You're thinking, okay, let's settle this game back down. It's starting to get away from us. Let's slow it down, slow the pace down, and let's go to what's working for us. Run some clock, give our defense, our pathetic defense, a breather, and then we'll go from there. Nope. What do? We come out throwing. First play, sack, lose 10 yards. Second play, we run a check down because we live in our fears. We won't try to go get 10 or 12 yards on a play. Third down, check down, punt. And the game was over. But then when we do get down by 10 points, because Green Bay, remember, they came right down the field and scored another touchdown. Then we're down 10 points with 10 minutes to go. What are the first two things the Steelers do? And I said it at the watch party. I said, I will bet you $1 million the Steelers start running the football here. And that's exactly what they did. They ran the football twice for 8 yards total. And I said, where the hell was that the last drive? Why didn't we do that then? I just didn't understand it. I couldn't understand. So, Arthur Smith, I'm sorry. I try to defend you when you need defending. You don't get my defense this week. You were pathetic. And let's move to the defensive side of the football. The Mike Tomlin, Terrell Austin defense. Somebody's got to be held accountable for this. We talked in the watch party. We talked in the post-game show that they wouldn't be surprised if Terrell Austin doesn't get fired this week. Some people said it'll be after the Colts game. What good is that going to do? And I understand that I get it that he's just the puppet. This is Mike Tomlin's defense. We're lying if we say that it isn't. But Terrell Austin, while maybe the thing is Terrell Austin's calling the plays and he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. I'll go with that. But what I know is something has to change because this defense was pathetic again in the second half of this game. That's the thing. In the first half, it wasn't horrible. But they dropped a few passes, bailed us out a little bit. We were able to stall them out, missed a couple field goals, and here we are. Second half, they make adjustments. Guess who didn't make any adjustments in the second half? The Pittsburgh Steelers. Same song and dance. Same song and dance. For last week, Cincinnati Bengals make a couple second half adjustments. Guess who didn't? Pittsburgh Steelers. Same thing happened here. 0 adjustments. That's 100% coaching. I don't care what anybody else is going to tell you. That is all on the coaching. The coaching gets an F in this football game for not sticking with the run, which was working. Jalen Warren minimum should have had 20 carries, probably 25. You paid him this money to be the workhorse. Let's see if he can do it. And I get that I was skeptical early in the season, saying, you know what, I don't know if he can do this. We've seen him get tired and fumble the football. Well, you know what? That's what works for this team. Give him the ball. Let's see what happens. We're running it well. Stick with it. Do something. I don't know. And then the defense, what else am I going to say? I mean, the coaching, F. Overall, it was just bad for both offense and defense. And then you go to overall, as far as what the Pittsburgh Steelers did. I'm sorry, people, man. They're just bad. They're in a bad way right now. I'm not sure how it's going to get better. I'm not sure, but you just stick in this game right here. Again, we had 6 penalties, which cost us some drives and cost us points. We lost the turnover battle. We lost the time of possession. They even outrushed us. And it wasn't they outrushed us because our rush defense was bad or we couldn't run the ball. We just stopped running. It's working. It's working too well. We're going to stop. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. I'm so frustrated because it's not that I said and think that we're a better team than the Packers, but this is a game I believe the Pittsburgh Steelers could have won, and we got in our own way. Or it might be what I said at the very beginning. Maybe the Steelers just aren't any good. Maybe the players, coaches, all of it just aren't any good. And I almost think that if they're not any good, I can live with that more than they're just playing bad. Because if they're not good, okay, you know what? We wipe the slate clean. We just go get better players. Okay. But if that's not the case, then I don't know. Either way, this is a bad outing. I give the overall a D minus for the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Green Bay Packers. I'm frustrated. I'm stambling or stuttering over words. I it's just mind boggling how bad this defense is. And at the beginning of the year, who would have said that? Who would have thought that the Pittsburgh Steelers, the problem with them is, man, the offense is playing pretty good, but this defense stinks. I don't think there's a sane person alive who would have believed that. Everybody who said it would have been the opposite, but it isn't. So my philosophy, let's start getting into shootouts then. Let's do that. Either that or run the ball 50 times in a game to keep it away from the other team because clearly we can't stop them. Oh, it's disgusting, man. Look, I appreciate everybody being in here. I know I'm in a bad mood and I apologize, but I can only call it what I see, man. The same thing holds true. I talk about Broderick Jones because what he puts on tape is bad. And I get on you guys about not blaming Mike Tomlin and talking about fire Mike Tomlin. I'll take a step back from that because I apologize, because the thing about it is, while the Steelers aren't going to fire him during the season and probably during the offseason, or maybe never, it doesn't mean that you guys can't keep saying it, because at some point, and you're probably right this very second. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Bad outing against the Packers. Appreciate you all being in here. Again, remember to like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll be back. We'll keep putting this stuff out, people. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. But I just have to tell you what I think, and this was a bad performance by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Appreciate you guys, and aloha.